What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back again for another Tottenham update, and it's about the North London derby. We told you yesterday that the game was in doubt of going ahead, seeing as Arsenal actually applied late last night to postpone the game. And as of today, the game has now been postponed. I'm joined with Sai to give you the update. The Premier League have announced that they regrettably have agreed to postpone the game because this is a result of a combination of COVID-19 existing and recent injuries and players on international duty at the AFCON. All clubs are able to apply for postponements if COVID-19 infections are a factor in their request. Now, they have one COVID-19 confirmed positive case. The rest of their team is made up of players who are suspended, i.e. Granit Xhaka, players out on loan, Maitland-Niles and Balogun, and players at the AFCON, and a few injuries as well. But surely it has to be down to a majority of COVID-19 cases. Just because they got one case doesn't give them grounds to postpone the game. I think it's an absolute farce. So the Premier League have agreed to allow Arsenal to postpone the game just because they're going to have a depleted team out, pretty much. I think it's an absolute disgrace. But Sai, I'm with you. What's your thoughts on it?
Man, I mean, it's an absolute joke. Like, you know, you can be absolutely behind a decision. Like, if there's a magnitude of players that aren't available because of this, you know, the pandemic or whatever. I just think like this world is so snowflakey at the moment, and I'm really disappointed in like the Premier League of all organisations. Like I said, if Arsenal turn around and said they got like, I don't know, 5-6 players COVID, you probably think, right, they could probably fill those gaps. And if there's more than that, then absolutely call it off. But we're in a situation where I think there's like one player, is it? One player?
Yeah, it's just Odegaard,
maybe two. Who knows? Maybe there's another one since yesterday. For argument's sake, we'll say two, just to let him off on that case. But the audacity to appeal this, like, I think it's showing a lot of weakness from Arsenal, for sure. But I also think it's showing massive. I don't understand what the Premier League's doing. The fact of the matter is, like, they've got loaned players out, and that's understood. Every team has that. Every team has loaned players out, right? And that's their own fault. The African Cup of Nations, in my opinion, all these stupid tournaments should not be going ahead in the situation right now, in terms of like the mass adoption of people going to watch games in that capacity, right? Yeah, and it's even like, yeah, if the World Cup was this year, I'd be extremely surprised. But obviously, it's like it's December, isn't it? But you know, we might be in a better place there. But my point being is like, you can't stop players from going to the African Cup, but surely as a player or like as a unity of clubs, you sit there and go, hang on a minute, guys. I think we're in the middle of not necessarily a crisis, but a situation where there's a lot of games to catch up on, particularly with ourselves at the moment. Unfortunately, we don't have the African players like we used to in the past. But there's got to be more like aggression, in my opinion, from the bigger like footballing organisations out in the world to stop this from happening. But we're now in a position where Arsenal have got their 5-6 players out there. It is what it is. But you sat here again 24 hours before a game, right? And you know, for me, like, I've moved my weekend around for the game. Now, if, like I said, if it's COVID related fully, I'd be like, there's nothing to do about it. It's disappointing, it's annoying, but it's life, right? But this is absolutely farcical. This is, I can't believe the Premier League has agreed to this. Like, they must be a bunch of Arsenal fans in there or something. The games that have been during the week, I think it's like something like Wolves or something, where they've had to experience, you know, players being out. And we're talking about a Wolves team that has like maybe a really good handful of players anyway, to have most of them out and then have to still play the game. Are you telling me you don't have any, like, well, we know for a fact the Arsenal lot had the academy team out, the under-23s out. What was it, yesterday or the day before?
Yeah, against Liverpool.
Piss take.
And they got a decent result as well.
Exactly. And like but you can play them, right? Isn't that the rules? Like, you have X amount of players you pick at the beginning of the season, but actually the ones under 23 don't count or something. So
Well, the new Premier League rules is opened up for exploitation, unfortunately, because they made a rule that has to be, you have to have at least 13 first-team players available or something. And now, because of injuries and stuff, there are teams just exploiting this because it's not related to COVID whatsoever. They have one COVID case, and now they've apparently got grounds to postpone the game based on that, based on poor squad management.
Yeah, I saw Ali Gold's post a while ago, like maybe 10, 20 minutes ago, about the fact that the Premier League has to listen to every appeal if it's relating to COVID. Now, that's fine, but not one bloody case. Like, the fact of the matter is, Xhaka, who always gets sent off anyway, in most games, he's not playing. They got a couple of injuries, like every team has. We're missing. You could argue we're missing a solid defense in terms of Romero, and you could argue that Son, one of our great attacking players, is missing. So there's no excuse there, and you've allowed, or not even had proper conversations with your players, just like we have with our Argentinian players. There's no doubt in my mind that the management at Tottenham get really frustrated when the Argentinian players have to go all the time. And we've already got Romero and Lo Celso talking about, oh, I can't wait to get back and healthy for the tournaments. Look, I'm sorry if this ruins the monetization, but fuck the tournaments. Come and play for the team and the club and the fans that pay your wages, mate. Like, get over yourselves. Like, but then it comes back, at the end of the day, it comes back to the audacity of the Premier League entertaining this as a conversation in the first place, and even worse now, allowing the game to be postponed. I can't get my head around it, and to be honest, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised anymore. I'm fed up with this world. I'm fed up with the laziness. I'm fed up with the snowflake attitude of everyone. And now, like Gary Neville said, everyone under the sun is going to use an excuse. I'll tell you now, I know many people, like in organisations, that have shut their organisation down for the last couple of weeks because everyone at work knows, even though they're not ill, they will go and take a test and it comes out positive, whatever, and they're going to take the good 10 days off. And they'll do it week after week after week. This is what we're coming to now, is now the Premier League sits there and the Premier League teams find an opportunity to take advantage of a system that's there that should be used for arguably vulnerable people and people who are in a difficult position or needing to. We're now in the position where a club goes, yeah, we don't really have a strong team for one reason or another, but because we've got a COVID case, we can stick it into an appeal and we'll probably bloody win the thing, unless we're a low-down team.
And they say, oh, we have all these players because of COVID injuries and AFCON. It makes it seem like it's because of mostly COVID, when it's actually just one COVID. It manipulates the whole process. Manipulates it all.
Like I said, if it was 5-6 players, you'd be questioning that if they were ill or whatever, and that's fine. And if it was more than that, obviously, yeah, of course, a full postponement immediately, no conversation about it. We're talking about one player. The fact of the matter is, 90% of the problem is because they got players out in Africa, and they got a couple of injuries, and they got a couple of suspensions. Whose fault is that?
The ironic thing is Tottenham had a genuine COVID outbreak, and we got dumped out of the European tournament.
Exactly. So I tell you what, Premier League, fancy pants, go and give us the 3 points of this game then. Because that's exactly the situation. In fact, ours was worse because we actually categorically had players out for COVID.
We had to close our training ground. They're not closing their training ground.
Exactly. So give us the 3 points then. Like, I want to play this game. I want to go and attend this game. I want to travel the good old 3 hours that I do to go and watch the garbage performances of our team. But it's a North London derby, right? Everyone else is managing to turn up. It's part of my mind's pissed off with Arsenal, and their fans are going to be well happy about that because obviously they had a weakened team. And you know what? Yeah, I thought it was an absolute joke that the Premier League put in a couple of liners in there, bit of a sly remark about the integrity of the Premier League and competitiveness.
Thank you for joining me. And unfortunately, the game is postponed this weekend, so I'm not going to be seeing you tomorrow. But we'll see when the game is going to be rearranged, and we'll see what happens. But that's the latest. The game is postponed, and we'll see when it's rearranged. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Yeah, man.
Subscribe and comment, and as always, come on, you Spurs.
I'm going to go.